This episode of Two Beers Till Takeoff is sponsored by No Days Wasted, a leader in the hangover supplement industry. Listeners can now get 15% off their next purchase by using promo code 2beers. That's 2beers, beers in capital at checkout. Live life or your next trip to the maximum with No Days Wasted.
Hello and welcome to Two Beers Till Takeoff, the podcast inspired by conversations overheard at the airport bar. Join Phil as he grabs a couple of beers and chats with interesting people from around the world, sharing expert knowledge and hilarious stories that you won't find in your guidebook. So pull up a stool and get ready for an adventure as we explore worlds of travel and beyond with Two Beers Till Takeoff.
4 hours in a Taliban headquarters.
I had dog meat in Laos.
Was it Golden Retriever?
Smack a dirty old smooch on our beautiful fish right here.
He didn't die, but he fell down the side of the mountain.
Hello and welcome to Two Beers Till Takeoff. My name is Phil and our guest today is a British adventurer, videographer, and TikToker. In his younger days, he was often compared as Jay from the In-Betweeners and presently is trying to complete the impossible feat of going around the world on a Tuk Tuk. He's a man who's got a story for us. Welcome to the show, Josh Porters.
Thank you very much, Phil, and thank you for having me. You really did do a deep dive. You've got the Jay from the In-Betweeners bit. My goodness. Good work, brother.
So for those who don't know who Jay from the In-Betweeners is, can you maybe describe him a little bit? Leave a couple of his famous quotes.
Okay, so Jay is famous for just inventing his entire life. So he's a 16-year-old boy, definitely a virgin, but likes to just create the allure that he is possibly a little bit more than that. So constantly being like, yeah, I was around the back of these two girls the other night. Yeah, I did both of them. And it's like, okay, Jay, no, you didn't. He's like, basically he's just full of shit. And that's very much what I was like as a younger lad, just full of shit. Before I discovered the lovely way that anxiety dissipates from your body if you just tell the truth the whole time. I thought it was important, mainly because I was living probably a boring life in a sheep farming village in Chester to create my own reality. So I would just chat shit the whole time. Yeah.
You do I did we drove a pedalo all the way to fucking Africa. The lady at the ice cream shop licked my cornetto. Just a couple.
These are J quotes, dude. These are just a couple of J quotes. Yeah, man, I was full of it as a kid, and didn't see the problem with just inventing my own reality to seem a little bit more interesting than just a little farm boy. Yeah, so that's why I mentioned Jay from the In-Betweeners. We just came when I was making that video, being like, what would someone resonate to, like in terms of what you were like? And it's like, Jay's a good one. He's
my favorite character. So I mean, I listen. I feel I'm starstruck right now. So from the top, how did you get the travel bug?
Went to Borneo when I was 16. Like, these guys came to school. As I said, I'm from a very sheltered little village. Yeah. So the idea that these places existed where there were things like orangutans and hornbills and coral reefs, like it was all just a different world to me. When I was into Borneo, and I just remember walking around like, what the hell is going on? It was like I teleported to a completely different planet. And I realized, like, I don't know, came back from that and I was like, okay, in terms of growth, I definitely, from that, whatever I spent out there, 5 weeks or something, it's like, wow, and that was some growth. I came back and was like looking at everything in a different way. And that already was like the trigger in my head that travel was important. And then after university, I had a few traveling experience there in Kenya with my friend Jasper, which we'd go into. And then sort of like, just clocked the level of impact it was having on me when I was coming home, and the difference in me was palpable. And I was like, if you can just keep doing this, maybe you will finally get yourself to a point where you are like, get closer and closer to the guy you actually want to be. So yeah.
People don't realize that travel is addictive because it does unlock some of those things that you get from traveling.
The easiest way to get out of your comfort zone is to literally get out of the space which you're comfortable in. And then you will automatically start getting hit with problems which you're not used to solving. And in your early years, when you're like able to adapt. You're able to sleep sometimes rough on the street if you need to. You're able to make bad decisions and not have it have a bad impact on yourself necessarily. Like, you may as well just be as uncomfortable as possible while you're young, and then the time for comfort and armchairs and good beer will all come later. But it's very like discomfort's what you want really as a young man and a young woman.
Yeah, listen, I have a question on this, and I want to kind of table that, because I think that I want to expand on that subject a little bit. But let's dive into your current mission, I guess. So you're planning to, or you're I guess you're a year into tuk-tuking across the world, which is
2 years.
2 years. 2 years. So just for those who might not know what a tuk-tuk is, can you describe that, and what motivated you to cross the world on a tuk-tuk?
Okay, so tuk-tuk is a little 3-wheeled sort of motorbike design with a roof and a passenger capacity. So it's very small. The doors are often open. It goes tuk 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 tuk, which is why it's called tuk-tuk. Often a single cylinder, loud, noisy diesel engine, which is actually quite economical. Will take you 30 kilometers on 1 liter of fuel, so it's not too bad. Rivaling a Tesla, some might say. But there are fantastic ways to see the world, dude. Like, we didn't realize it at the time. Like, so me in Sri Lanka about 4 years ago, me and my buddy Jasper, who's my travel companion, a guy I've pretty much married at this point. I've spent about the last 10 years of my life in his company every day. So we were in Sri Lanka, and they were hiring these tuk-tuks at the beach, and people would hire them. They'd stick their surfboards on them, and they'd go to the beach, and they'd take the surfboards off. It was like a fun way of getting around Sri Lanka. And we hired one, and we were like, what are people going to do if we just drive this into the national park? And the national park's got leopards, buffalo, elephant, like the place where you're not meant to be in a tuk-tuk. And we were like, who's going to stop us? Shall we just give it a crack? And we just boosted into this national park, and just had the best day ever. Cruising around. Every time we got stuck, it's so light. You just pick up the back, you move it, you get out. We're like, dude, we can do this. There's something in this. And we just had, I remember like lying on this like rock at the end of the day, watching the sunset next to our tuk-tuk in the middle of this national park. There were like game drive vehicles going around everywhere with people in Land Cruisers looking at you like, what are you guys doing here?
Are you guys
and
lost?
We just felt like, yeah, man, exactly. What do you like? Do you know there's buffaloes and leopards and stuff here? And we were like, we're in a tuk-tuk. We'll be fine. We're fine. We're one. We're one with everything right now. I don't know, man. It just felt like a really cool way to get around. So we got bitten by this tuk-tuk bug, and we always had a feeling that at one point all we needed was a chance, and the tuk-tuk could become a real cool vehicle for seeing the world. Yeah.
And so it started in Sri Lanka, and in the next 2 years, I guess, where has it taken you?
So after Sri Lanka, we went back to our jobs. So I then went back to my job in Indonesia. I was working on a private island as a guest relations manager. So we had like a little 17-hectare island. I was swimming every day, living in a bamboo house on the beach. Like, life was weird. It was like the dream life I had as a boy, and I managed to somehow acquire it in Indonesia, which was nice. But then COVID happened. Bang. I was a guest relations manager with no guests. So my boss rings me up and he's like, look, I'm really struggling to come up with a reason to pay you. And I was like, that's fair enough, Andrew. But he was like, you can stay on the island for free if you want during COVID, or I can fly you back to Manchester. So I weighed up in my head, and I was like, do I want to go spearfishing all the time and have my sort of like castaway moment in Indonesia, or do I want to go spend COVID in Manchester? It was a pretty easy choice to make. Chose Indonesia and got into the video making. So on the island, had nothing to do with my time, went fully insane, spearfishing 10, 12 hours a day. I realized I needed something else to keep my mind occupied. So got into walking around my phone, started telling stories, because I was already talking to myself loads. I was the only English-speaking guy on the island for a long time. And when I was just talking to myself, I was like, why don't you start filming what you're actually talking about? And I started just following stories with my phone, and the TikTok channel took off, which was a nice surprise. So all of a sudden, like, followed this story about these black soldier flies. Sorry, I'm getting off piece here, but do you mind? Sorry. But basically, the black soldier flies, they process the food waste on the island. Where there's a really cool story where the flies come, they lay eggs on the food, the maggots eat the food, they flop out of the bins, and we feed them to the chickens, and that's how we get our eggs. Made one video of that, on the island, posted it on TikTok, and it got 4.5 million views in a week. And it just changed everything, dude. 100,000 followers in like a week as well. And then that was the avenue to like content creation and thinking, okay, how do we grow this now, post-COVID? And then obviously I've got these boys in Africa who are my friends from university, a guy called Jasper in Kenya, his brother Ivor, a guy called Robbie. And they are mad adventurers. So it was basically about marrying the adventurous spirit of those boys and my ability to tell stories and trying to come up with something to do with that when we all lost our jobs because of COVID.
Wow. So I guess so you went from Sri Lanka to back to Indonesia, and then you joined the boys, I assume, in Kenya, and then from there, where have you gone and to where you are now?
Oh, okay. So arriving in Kenya, we started immediately. We knew that content, we basically just wanted to follow our interests. We understood that like the purpose and meaning that we may find in this time that COVID gave us was probably going to be found in our interests. So we basically we like conservation, we like travel, we like filmmaking, we try and just draw these Venn diagrams and shoot an arrow straight down the middle of all 5 of these Venn diagrams of interest in a way of finding purpose. So it started out with adventure videos, fly fishing the Aberdares. We drove up to northern Kenya and actually into Ethiopia to go on some crazy missions into Lake Stephanie, which is this big dried lake bed, like met crazy members of Oromo tribes up there who would to put in perspective like how isolated that area of the world is. You can give one of them a lighter and they will not know how to do the lighter. And like you go up to them, you go, and the lighter comes on, and then we had the incredible experiences with those guys, and they're all armed to the teeth with guns as well. So it's very much like, hope these guys are having a good day. But then you meet them and you just sort of share knowledge. They then show you stuff about they've got guns from the 1940s, like from the First World War. Some of them had guns from the First World War. Jeez. So they were like showing us how they clean that and stuff. So we were having all of these cool experiences in Kenya, man, but there was always something missing. Like it never felt like we'd properly fired that arrow straight through all of the interests. And then a drunk Zimbabwean lady, we were telling her we would make TikToks. And she was like, so these tuk-tuks you're making? And it was like, no, we make TikToks. She's like, well, can you just talk me through these tuk-tuks? And after the 4th or 5th time that she said it, we just went, maybe she's onto something, this crazy drunk Zimbabwean lady. What if we combine video making, adventure, wildlife conservation, and we try and raise money for the people protecting the spaces that we love by driving around in the dumbest vehicle possible to explore Africa, and bish, bash, bosh. A month later, we had 2 tuk-tuks, man.
Fuck. And then so you guys went from Kenya, Ethiopia.
Yeah, illegally into Ethiopia. No, we were not allowed to be there. We boosted in. But we just, that part of the world is wild. And there's no border post. There's no one checking. So you just boost in. We camped 50 kilometers into Lake Stephanie, surrounded by fossils. Like no one had been fossil hunting here yet. So you just go, there's like these little black patches of sand that spring up out of the lake bed. And each black patch is fossils. It's not rocks. It's just a mound of fossils. So you just go and you're like, fish fin, vertebrae. You're looking for crocodile teeth. They're like the golden goose. So we had a lot of fun, man. We had a lot of fun. But the tuk-tuks is what tied it all together, where it's like, right, let's get serious. We can try grow something together. Because at that time, it was just my TikTok channel we were posting on. So obviously that's not going to work as a group. So we needed something to become a group about. And that's where Tuk South came from. It was like, right, as of 4, we're marrying these skills of adventure. These boys all speak Swahili as well. So they're like, they can travel anywhere in East Africa and have respect and understanding from the locals because they can speak their language. They can literally speak their language. So it's a blessing for me to be able to travel with them. And my video making was incredible to see them just become video makers naturally over time. So like a really happy marriage of the 4 of us. And worked from Kenya, got the tuk-tuks, did some work on them, replaced the roll cage. It turns out, man, when you own a tuk-tuk, everyone wants to help you. Everyone looks at you and is like, come on then, boys. yeah, man, we'll paint it for free. We'll build you a roll cage for free. Like, people just got behind the idea, man. They enjoyed the insanity of it all. Like, they're little cheat codes. They really are little cheat codes. If you own a tuk-tuk and drive a tuk-tuk every day, you begin to realize people are real nice to me when I'm in this wagon, man. Real nice. It's an addictive feeling. Yeah.
So I feel like, and this just might be my perspective, but Europe seems to be very well, like there's a very like the path has been already cleared. You know what I mean? Europe is discovered. A lot of tourists are going there.
Yeah. And all the animals have been
white. Yeah, exactly. Southeast Asia is very touristy. South America, North America, and Africa. Just, I don't know if it's my perspective, but feels like a bit more of a daunting experience. Can you maybe share some of the countries that really stood out to you, and ones that maybe if somebody's not as a avid traveler, one that they could maybe start with to kind of ease into Africa, because obviously there's some challenges that you experience in Africa. Obviously, like traveling is different, you know.
For sure. Yeah. What's been super interesting is like the divide of like East Africa to Southern Africa. So in East Africa, it's a different world, man. Like, there's boda motorbikes everywhere. You get down to Southern Africa, there's hardly any bikes here. Traveling around Kenya is one of the easiest things in the world. You can get a motorbike that drives right to your doorstep. You hop in the back of that motorbike, brings you to a bus station. You could maybe take 20 steps going from your front door to anywhere in Kenya. Literally anywhere. It's bizarre. I'd start with Kenya. I really would. If I was going to Africa for the first time, it's an incredible place. And it is like, there's just, you're never stuck. You're never stuck. You've always got access to be able to travel to different zones. Lots of people speak English there as well as Swahili. If you're speaking English, but I mean, English seems to be the one that's taken over in terms of the travel world.
Yeah.
Luckily, because I am not multilingual. Yeah, Kenya would be a great place to start. And it just has everything, man. Like, it has the mountains. It has incredible mountainous, like, it's got things you wouldn't think of in Kenya. Like, around Mount Kenya, you've got these incredible highland streams, like vegetation. The colors are crazy. These beautiful, like, pristine lakes full of trout. And you're thinking, I'm in Kenya. Like, in your head, Kenya's the Masai Mara. It's lions. It's like flames. But then there's so much more to that country, my man. And the coastline, unbelievable coastline, beautiful beaches. It's like, Kenya is a country that's really on the come up. It's got like something like 80% of Kenya's energy is all from renewables. 80%. Oh, wow. Getting it from groundwater. They're getting it from wind farms. They're getting it from geothermal. They get it like damming. There's so much ingenuity in that country, man. It's incredible. I really would recommend anyone to go and check it out, and not just for like the safari, but go and like go some weird places. Go to the Aberdares, go to Northern Kenya. Northern Kenya is a wild place, man. Wow, like, you're talking about untrodden paths. Like, there's times in Northern Kenya where you really pinch yourself. You're on this lava desert next to Lake Turkana, the largest freshwater lake in the world, and you're like looking at, it's called the Jade Sea because it's so blue, and you've got these volcanoes surrounding it. You've got the Rift Valley comes down through Lake Turkana all through Kenya into Tanzania, and that's where they're finding the oldest like hominid fossil remains, like Lucy. So you've got like all this history of human life in this place, and you can feel it, man. Like, when you're in these zones, you're like, wow, like the first men walking around here were like, it really is mind boggles the mind. Yeah, it's going to be real hard to go back to Chester.
get all those rich footballers giving you the stink eye.
Yeah, in their Range Rovers. I'm driving around in my Tuk Tuk going,
Wow. So I guess, in your 2 years, you've done most of Africa, and now you're in South Africa, correct?
We are in South Africa. The end is in sight, Phil. The end is in sight. We're so close. We are currently in Stellenbosch, which is a town about 50 kilometers out of Cape Town. And if I'm honest, we're doing a little bit of partying because we haven't really had a big jaw, as the South Africans call it, for about a good 2 years. So we've arrived here and we're just getting what we haven't had, which is like, a beer.
Hey, you got to do it, man. Once in a while, absolutely. So you told me that you're speaking at a conference tomorrow. You're speaking at the We Are Africa conference tomorrow, and I initially misunderstood what you said. You said, "Oh, I think I'm speaking in front of 15,000 people," but it's actually potentially 50,000 people. What are you going to be talking to these people about tomorrow? I'm so intrigued.
Okay. It's a good question, Phil. Probably.
And you must be very prepared, right?
Oh, dude, I'm more prepared than ever. My God. This whole trip, I've just been making notes for this presentation. We're very excited to be doing it. We're very lucky to be invited. They're very good to us, these guys. We got offered a contract when we first got the Tuk Tuks, which pretty much saved our bacon because it paid for the first 9 months of our trip, which was a filming contract from a company called Weaver. And they have got us into this We Are Africa thing because they are connected. It's like it's a nice little marriage for us, and it's nice for them to have like us speaking in person after we provided these nice videos for them. So for the We Are Africa thing, we are meant to be like giving a little presentation on what Tuk South is, and also it's interesting because they talked about purpose-led content. So we've had to sit down and be like, what the hell is the purpose of our content? Like, we've got to go quite deep into it. And we've realized that like the purpose of our content was always like to follow the interests, as I said, which I think is where purpose probably lies in life, is when you start really aligning like all of your interests and you manage to get some beautiful arrows straight down the middle of all of them. And then it's sort of purpose-led content just comes from that. Like when you're making a video, which is just about everything that you love in like 20 different ways. So I think we're going to be talking a little bit about that. We're going to be talking about how content isn't all about the beauty of things, about how a lot of our videos that have really resonated with people have just been filmed in a backyard shed with a guy who just cuts glass for a living but has a beautiful story, and about encouraging these tourism bases that obviously have these beautiful views and animals and beaches and forests that like it's very easy to film someone with a cocktail on a beach and post that on your Instagram account. That's lazy. Go around the back, talk to the people fixing the rooms with bamboo, talk to the people sorting out your food waste, like talk to the staff members who have got these genius little solutions for running hotels, resorts, lodges in really inhospitable conditions, because that's what people are interested by. And a lot of these lodges just don't understand it, and they're just hammering like the prettiness of their place, thinking this is going to do well on social media. In reality, people just want to hear stories with a bit of substance. We found
some real shit.
Yeah, some real shit, dude. Like it's not that hard. Like, you go around, just follow your own interest. Like, I mean, maybe it is lions, but then how about you go and talk to the guide who's been working with the lions, and you'd be like, tell me a little bit about your stories, man. Tell me why you like lions. Tell me about your best thing that you've ever encountered with a lion. Guaranteed a video of like well, you can't guarantee it, but like a story of a guide who's had 25 years in the field, who loves lions. If you could just convey your interest in his interest, and you can get that out in a beautifully told story with good filming, boom, you've got yourself something which people will watch. Yeah. So
yeah, just capture their passion. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that you definitely convey that in your videos for sure. And I think I really gravitated towards your content initially because of, the amazing videography and the amazing storytelling. But as I dove deeper into your content, you opened up a bit about yourself in your younger days. And for me, it was a little bit like looking into a mirror, because I too didn't know what I was going to do with my life, working a shitty job, not at Greg's, but it was still shitty. Drinking more than you probably should. And overall, I think I was like a little bit of a lost soul. Yeah. So looking at your content, it's very clear that you've matured and gained wisdom along the journey, leaving viewers with quotes like, life shouldn't be easy, but it should be fun. I'm wondering if you could share some advice for folks who are in that lost phase and how you can help them find themselves.
100%, man. And you know what? That question, if you'd asked me that question 4 years ago, I'd have laughed at you. Be like, you want to find yourself? Go to Africa, burn, smoke some peyote, maybe you'll find yourself. But no, now having gone through the whole thing, I kind of get it. I'll get shelled for everything I'm about to say by everyone who's British. Who's like, ooh, this guy. But I'll say it anyway. Sod it. So I've learned.
Hey, fuck them. It's me and you right here.
So the five things that I've learned over this past 6 years of being out of the UK and just bouncing around. The number one, which really changed a lot for me, was honesty. Used to lie a lot as a child. Don't know why. I used to just enjoy coming up with weird little realities where I was a little bit cooler than I actually was. For that reason, anxiety was inside because I had to keep track of all of these different personalities, which I just created for no other reason than it was fun. But then I spent time with these kids in Kazakhstan, although from Kazakhstan, that I was guiding around Malaysia. And I couldn't figure out why they were so happy. And like they were great friends with each other. And then it clicked one day on a bus that they never lied to each other ever. And for that reason, they were some of the best people I've ever spent time with. And then that had this weird, like, full body. The only way I can explain it is like a golden feeling that just came from here. And it was like all of my anxiety, and with this realization, just dissipated out completely. And I just, from that moment, just tried to tell the truth as much as possible. And I've realized that anxiety for me now is not really a thing at all. And it's just because I'm always honest with other people, try to be, and always honest with myself. Like, am I happy in this situation? No, change it. Like, constantly evaluating and trying to be just genuinely honest. That changed a lot. And then number two was consistency. So I started then writing, making videos, and I realized that anyone who's been good at anything ever, unless they're extremely lucky or a weird freak of nature and just very talented, you have to do something again and again and again and again. If you want to be any good at it or you want to achieve anything in a space, consistency is key. So I was like, okay, that's another good one. Add that to the list. So then I had honesty and consistency. Then I realized if I wake up and just make videos every day, the videos get worse and worse and worse because I'm not like allowing myself to flow through the day. So I'm not like waking up, going for a swim, meeting a friend, having a coffee, going to the gym, making a video. The consistency is useless unless you also have variety in your day because you're a human being. You can't just be doing one thing. So I had to learn that lesson as well. So then flow came in, lesson number 3. Number 4 was energy. Sounds a bit hippy-dippy, but I realized that because I talk a lot, I'm an extrovert, I can have quite a big impact on like the energy of a group. So when I'm on good form, that's perfect. I'm there, I'm asking questions, I'm enthusiastic, I'm interested in you. And like generally I'm okay to have around, I think. Speaking from, I don't know, I'm not bad at a party. But it means that when I'm feeling down, I'm also not afraid of being like, I feel crap. Yeah, it's a shit day today, isn't it? Yeah. God, what's life like? I will start voicing it. I realize like, oh, dude, if you're feeling down, just take yourself away. Be conscious of like what you're feeling. Feel it on your own if you need to. Like, you don't have to talk to anyone if you don't want to. And then that was a big one for me as well, is energy. So we got honesty, consistency, flow, energy. And the other one I learned 2 weeks ago. So we've had to add it to the list after years of just having those 4. And it was annoyingly, kindness now has to be on the list. Turns out if you are genuinely kind and you are genuinely giving without the thought of receiving, like, it is good for you.
Yeah. It's good to be kind. You get something back from that, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe karma is the thing, dude. I'm not the man to be speaking on it, but all I know is I went to this festival called Africa Burn, where money is not allowed. It's like Burning Man, but it's in Africa. And I've never had a human experience quite like it in terms of the overall effect on the people throughout the course of the festival. By day 4 or day 5, people are completely different, dude. Because you've just been giving and given stuff the whole time. And it means every single interaction you have is positive with people. You don't have this, it's bizarre. You don't have any fear about going and speaking to anyone because you know everyone is on an excellent level. Like, everyone has been brought up by the vibe of the whole festival. The whole time people are just like, here's a satsuma, here's a glass of champagne. Oh, do you want to try this? This is some strange Indonesian tobacco. And the whole time you're like, oh, wow. And then like, and then it was just like, oh man, it's just so important. It's so important to that community of 14,000 people in the desert, in the middle of the South African Karoo desert, that they could get by just giving everything. So it was beautiful. And I realized kindness had to be on the list. So now kindness is on there.
Yeah, it makes sense, dude. Yeah, it definitely sounds like it was an interesting experience to kind of not necessarily be forced to be kind and to give and to, but it seems like I'd love to go to that festival. It sounds like something would be really interesting.
You gotta go, man. You gotta go. Every time I'm not at Africa Bird now, between the dates of April, the whatever it is, to April, the whatever it is, 20th to 27th, I know I'm not at the best place on the planet. It is unbelievable. Like the setting. You're in the Karoo National Park. You're on a plane. You're surrounded by these huge mountains everywhere. The sun is perfect. Like the sunsets and the sunrises were unbelievable. The moons, oh God, all the stages, these perfectly handcrafted wooden structures, 50 to 60 feet tall. And when they torch those things, you can feel it in here, like, that everything is temporary, everything must burn. Like we can create this, like, and everyone, you can tell everyone when they're watching it, they get it. They're like, oh, like this, I'm literally watching what my spark of life is. Like I make everything as beautiful as I possibly can, and then I'm gone. And like people get it, they really do. And then they get naked, and then they start running around this big burning fire, and you've got thousands of these naked people running around the fire in the desert, and you're just there watching it all, like, wow, like it's experience on a whole nother level, man. Like you are like, I'm really living right now.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. What was the name of the festival again?
Africa Burn. Yeah,
Africa Burn. Okay, cool. I'll have to check that out. So Josh, in one of your videos, you recall some of the craziest shit that's happened along the way of your Tuk Tuk journey.
Yeah.
One story that you left out though was one night in Mozambique. So can you share what happened?
Yeah, sod it. So Mozambique, northern Mozambique, I think it's getting better now. They've managed to quieten it down. I'm not the person to be speaking on political tensions in Mozambique, but I know the north of it had some trouble with a group related to ISIS, I believe, Al-Shabaab or something. And there's been the people have had a really hard time up there, man. It's been very sad. There's bullet holes everywhere. Like maybe they're not all fresh bullet holes, but like the place is wearing the scars of multiple wars, essentially. So we had to go through Malawi to Mozambique to Zimbabwe. We knew we couldn't do all of Mozambique. Very beautiful country, I'm told. We would love to experience it, going down that coastline. We've heard it's fantastic. But for our tuk-tuk trip, we knew we needed to get to the Western Cape. So we had to miss out on these incredible areas of Mozambique and go straight through the north. Well, not quite the north, but basically it's called the Tech Corridor. And it's still around quite an area with some tensions. On that crossing, it's just me and Jasper. The other two flew back to get camera equipment. So we're doing the tech crossing, just two boys and two tuk-tuks across this area of Mozambique, which has had its problems. The entire time while we've been doing this trip, we try and sleep on the side of the road in a tent. Like that's it. That's how we live our life. It keeps money down. It's what we like to do. We like waking up and pooing in a hole. It's all good. But we tried to do this night one in Mozambique. And first thing that happens, we pulled off the road, got ourselves under a tree. We were like, right, we're pretty secluded here. Let's just like open the tuk-tuk, have a cup of tea. And then this guy comes on a motorbike, buzzes in, sees us, and buzzes out like 100 kilometers an hour, gets out of there. We were like, seems a lot like he was checking us out. And he's like, yeah, it does. And anyway, let's keep on drinking our tea. So we're drinking the tea, the sun's setting. And just as the sun goes, Africa is a very different place at nighttime if you're in the towns and places, because a lot of these places, they don't have street lights. So there's no source of light lighting up a lot of the towns and the villages at nighttime. So we just got surrounded, man. We got surrounded by 150 villagers who were armed, like spears, pangas, and we didn't realize it until they started coming into our light, because we had like light from the tuk-tuk, and then just 150 people the whole way around on.
Holy shit.
Man, these guys, they'd seen the tuk-tuks, our tuk-tuks are like camo-ish colored, like they're beige, like desert camo color-ish. And they distrusted us. They thought maybe we were mercenaries or someone. They were scared. So they came out and they came on. We got shouted at in Portuguese. They didn't speak any English, not a single bit of English from any of them. So we don't speak any Portuguese. Jasper's trying to speak Swahili, but nothing getting through. And we now put the cups of tea down. Like, right. We stand up. We're showing them our hands. We're like, camping, sleeping, like, and they're just more and more riled up. It's nighttime. People are scared. Every time we would move an arm or move a chair, they would scatter, like as if we were reaching for a weapon or something. So like, it was tense, man. And then right at the end of this interaction where things are like boiling up, they're getting closer and closer, and there's like, please, like people like screaming police and army at us. This guy burns in on a bike. He's got an AK-47 strapped across his shoulder, and I was being like, please be a friend. Please be this guy. And he looked over at us and he was like, right, boys, you're in a serious problem here. He spoke English, this guy. He was like, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ride in the front. This other officer's going to ride in the back. We're going to get you out of here. You're going to sleep in the station tonight. And it was like, we'll follow you anywhere, officer. We hopped in the Tuk Tuk. They gave us an armed escort to the police station. They took our passports off us. They sat us down. They questioned us about what we were doing there, why we were driving a Tuk Tuk to an area where it was war torn. Like, we got hammered by these guys. And then after a while, we've called it the art of buttering, is what we are getting good at. And like, you find out what people's interests are and you just get enthusiastic about it. You're just like, what football team do you like? Oh, you're a United fan. I'm a United fan. Bit of common ground here, but how we do it? And then you start the buttering process. And after
fucking neighbors with Rooney.
Pardon?
I'm fucking neighbors with Rooney.
Exactly. I've been to the stadium, bro. I've been to Old Trafford. They're like, woo, I'd love to go. And they sort of not forget, but like their guard drops. And we were able to, by the end of the night, man, we were just sinking beers with these police officers watching a film on our projector screen. And we left the next day free of any problems. Yeah. But it was it was a moment we weren't in control of. We could say that.
Holy shit, man. That's heavy. Maybe they just wanted, maybe the 150 people surrounding you just wanted a good cup of tea. Did you ever think of that?
Maybe, dude. Maybe. And we did offer them. We offered them. Do you trust me? We were trying to give them stuff. Bread, tea. These guys were scared. But yeah, it's just a genuine ignorant mistake, man. Genuine mistake.
Wow. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. It was about where you don't want to be in a tuk-tuk. Like, there's no fast getaway. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean also, like, what mercenaries travel via tuk-tuk?
I know, man. An army vehicle. We sometimes get stuck in potholes. We cannot be an invading force. Yeah, it's a terrible vehicle. It's a good point.
We are not the Wagner Group.
Exactly.
So before we get to Q&A, during the pandemic, you DJ'd on Causewave Radio, where you played anything from Black Pumas to Celine Dion.
Oh, you've done your research, Phil. You really
As
have.
a music lover, can you share a couple tunes that you're into recently?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the problem is everyone knows it, but Michael Kiwanuka, I think his name is, Cold Little Heart. If you've not heard that, it's probably the best song that's ever been made. That's one I've been jamming recently in the shower. Do you know it? Cold Little Heart?
No.
Oh, dude. The intro, it's a 5-minute intro of just like this chorus and like epic soundtrack. It's like cowboy intro. And then it just hits into this crazy drum beat. And then this guy's voice comes over the top of it with so much soul. And it's just like, it's 10 minutes long, man. And it's art. So that's the song I'm really jamming at the minute. Yeah. That would be my shout. If you've not listened to it, you got it. It's the best.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a great one. I'll check it out. Let's get into Q&A.
Q&A.
So, first question, hot or cold?
Cold. Give me cold.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's a surprising answer. Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Bus or train?
Train.
Thought you were going to say tuk-tuk. Cats or dogs?
Dogs, man. Dogs. Dogs. Get out of here, cats.
Top or bottom bunk?
Bottom bug. I'm not 8 anymore, I'm afraid. No more climbing stairs.
Favorite sports team?
Irish rugby team.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Not England?
No, dude, my granddad played for Ireland. I have to say Ireland. I support Ireland, yeah.
No way. So are you like half Irish or?
Both my parents are Irish, but they didn't do me the courtesy of raising me in Ireland, so I too would get the lovely Northern Irish accent. No, they decided to raise me.
They're from the north. What part of the north?
Mum's from Portrush. Dad's family was from from Londonderry or Derry, depending on your political inclinations, and Belfast. Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. I actually did St. Patrick's Day in Belfast. It was pretty interesting.
Did you? No way.
Like 2012. Yeah.
You understand? Those guys can party, man. They really can party.
They can party, and they don't like the Irish. we had like Guinness, like clover leaves on our like temporary tattoos on our necks, and I'm just saying that was not a good idea.
Yeah, man, it's a contentious point up there. It's an interesting place. Luckily, it's all calmed down a bit. They're all bloody lovely, but yeah, I mean, you can get into a few interesting bar conversations, which you may want to avoid if you don't want to be punched in the face. Yeah.
Yes.
But they're lovely people, and they also party hard, and they're great crack. Yeah.
Hell yeah. If you could have a beer with one person from history, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Beer. Who would I have to have a beer with? Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, man. He was the ultimate G. My goodness, the stories that man had. As long as I can speak his language. Can I speak his language? Latin?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. If I can speak to him, Julius Caesar, and that guy, like, do you know much about it? Have you done your research on Caesar?
So I came across, like, I haven't read any Shakespeare, so I know that they talk a lot about Julius Caesar and stuff like that and that.
Yeah.
But I came across a YouTube series that gave like a description, like almost like an animation of all the different battles and the different types of strategy that he would have in the battles. Insane.
Yeah, he's a genius, man.
Insane.
Literal genius. And also, like, his ability to, he's good at everything. His oratory ability, like, he went to train in Greece and he could just control mass crowds back in the day by just speaking like a G. And his way of thinking about elevating himself into a position of power. And like, he was in a time where it's like the Game of Thrones, man. It's cutthroat. It's dog eat dog world. You've got like Brutus and all. Like, it's just he just played a perfect chess game right up to the point where he got, shanked to death. But like, it was just, it was almost like he got so powerful that like he had to go. Like, he was just becoming a god. Like, the stories of him as a young man, like getting captured by these mercenaries on the boat, and then them being like, right, we're going to go to shore. We're going to say we want whatever it was, 20,000 Roman things. And he was like, surely 100,000. Surely ask for 100,000. There's a 21-year-old kid saying this, and the pirates go, okay, we'll ask for 100,000. And then he gets to know them, and he gets them to like become a friend, and they all start laughing. And at the end of it, he's like, by the way, after this day is done, I'm going to come back and I'll hang all of you. And they're all laughing because they're like, this kid's just hilarious. Next day, 100,000 gets paid. He goes, gets some boats, gets them all, brings them back, crucifies all of them. Like, literally, like, just, he was just such a G.
Yeah, I actually thought about this the other day, that, you know what I mean? We almost glorify, the Julius Caesars, these like epic people from, or leaders from the past. Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
One time he's killed like 10% of the world's population.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking about, like, will the people of today, the leaders of today that, we may seem controversial, or that more in our recent, just like example, like a Hitler, will Hitler be regarded as a person who was, a great leader? And not to say that I support anything he does, but just like, you know what I mean? Just how much time has to pass? Because I mean, like, obviously these people did fucked up shit, but we're glorifying them. You know what I mean?
One of the great things about the world that we live in and the world of podcasts is you get you get everything. Like if you go and listen to the Real Dictators podcast about Hitler,
That's a sick podcast.
so good, man. And you just start understanding, like, you can start like understanding. It's really important to study these things and to like to be, why was he so effective? Like what
Exactly.
was this like? He was just so good at his speaking. He's so good at like commanding the hearts of his countrymen. And it was the perfect storm of Germany being downtrodden by the Treaty of Versailles and then like being it was the perfect
Hyperinflation.
storm. Yeah, man. Like they were on their knees. They were brought too far down onto their knees. And you've got this young Austrian guy who can speak in these beer houses and cause a bit of a ruckus. And like, he saw his opportunity and he went for it. I mean, like I think it's really important to learn deeply about the real darker side of humanity. Real important, and like not gloss over it. Like this is what happened, and like this is how it happened, and like. I think shows like Real Dictators actually are really important for understanding that dark side of human nature. And also, like, man, it's really weird. It's a weird aspect of humanity that you can get one guy like a Stalin who grows up a poor dude in Georgia, and now elevates to literally one of the most powerful men on earth through like tactical manipulation, speaking like it. I mean, I can't organize my day. I can't organize the Tuk Tuk, and you've got people like who have been able to just control, manipulate, able to think in these weird patterns and structures of human society, and just take reins in a weird way. And like it's important to understand that, and like understand when it's happening, and be like, maybe this isn't such a good idea. Blindly following this dude who's really good at speaking. Like, I think it's good. Learn as much as you can.
But it's like, I think the concept that's interesting to me is, what if somebody looked at the past successes from these, polarizing or influential leaders and used it for good?
Yeah. No, it's a good point.
But then good becomes subjective, because obviously what they were doing at the time was perceived as good for their people or the country, right? So it's an interesting concept.
It really is, man. And it's like, that's the stuff that's interesting. It's when you get into that gray area of like what's right, what's wrong, like at what point are you a heroic leader, at what point are you a tyrant, like how many. Have you heard the saying? One which always gets me is like a horse or a camel is a horse designed by a committee, and like that resonates. Like, because obviously in our society, it seems to be like democratically led governments are currently like quite a nice way of managing things. It seems if you've got like low corruption, it seems like it works quite well, which is like a miracle. But like at the same time, you can have the genius vision of like one special guy. Like maybe it could work, but it's just the odds are so slim, aren't they? The odds are slim. Like you've got what Marx like came up with communism, was like, this is the vision. And like it gets into a lot of people's heads and like caused a lot of deaths, like hundreds.
A lot of deaths, yeah.
Yeah, and what do those hundreds of millions of deaths stem from? One guy's vision for a perfect world. It's like, it's such an irony to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we should continue maybe with the Q&A. We kind of went down a wormhole, but I love it. These are supposed to be short answers, but hey, that was awesome. What's something you never travel without?
Never travel without?
Yeah.
Knife or head torch.
Hell yeah. What is your favorite world attraction?
World attraction, eh? Oh, that's an interesting one. I like world attraction. What does world attraction mean? We're talking human or we're talking wild?
Both.
Okay, Mount Mulanje in South Malawi. Favorite place on earth.
Never heard of it.
Neither did I before I got there. It was cool.
Fuck. I got a lot of Googling to do after this episode. Which country has the best cuisine?
Man, tosser. Sushi's good. Italian's great. For me personally, I'm going to go Italian. I eat a lot of pasta, eat a lot of pizza.
Solid answer. What is your biggest travel pet peeve?
Pet peeve? Being on someone else's schedule, dude. Get me off that. Yeah. if I'm ever on a fucking tour group or I've got someone telling me X, Y, Z, if I get to a place and I'm like, I like it here, I want to spend a month here, I spend the month there. That's been the nicest thing about Tuk South. It's why we've taken 2 years to get to here, is when we get to a place and we're like, looks a lot like heaven on earth. We just stay there for a week. So yeah, being told where to go and where to be and what time to be places.
A fucking men. That's a great answer. Tell me your best travel hack.
Best travel hack. Talk to everyone all the time. Don't never have a day where you don't talk to someone new. Always talk. It just works. Just go and talk to everyone. Be enthusiastic. Don't go be boring. Go and be enthusiastic.
What's the most underrated country?
Most underrated country. Probably. I mean, Kenya's already quite well rated. I'm going to go Indonesia. I think Indonesia is. You struggle to beat Indonesia. Volcanoes, the coral reef, getting around by boat. Yeah, it's incredible. Indonesia.
Where is somewhere you'd never go back?
Never go back. I would never go back to Magaluf in the south of Spain. A party town where I think I may have kissed a man dressed as a woman instead of an actual woman. You got to be careful of that place.
The tie of the West.
Yeah. Dangerous place.
Where did you experience the least friendly locals?
Least friendly locals. It's tough, man. Most places real friendly everywhere. Cambodia. Oh no, I can't slam Cambodia. To be honest, I was just in a party town, so everyone all hated all the party goers because we were a stench.
Yeah.
Friendly locals, man. Fuck. You know what? I'm struggling here. I've never been anywhere where I've thought these are unfriendly people.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Where were you the most scared?
Most scared. There's a place in Cape Town called Bellevue Bus Station. We've been a lot of places on this trip. We've done a lot of things. Bellevue Bus Station at nighttime, not the place you want to be. I think I got offered meth 3 times in about 5 minutes, and I was like, "Oh, we're in the wrong part of town, boys." So we hopped in an Uber and went. But like, yeah, that was genuinely like, it was just a place which was dodgy, I guess. Yeah.
What is your favorite cocktail?
Margarita's growing on me. Yeah, I like the tequila ones. Margarita, we'll go with that one.
Where did you find your most expensive pint?
Most expensive
Pint.
Oh, Singapore, mate. $20 for a pint. 20 Singapore dollars for a pint. Works out about 10 quid or something. I mean,
Jesus.
Get in the bin, Singapore. Regarding beer, I do want to come back, so you're great for a lot of other stuff, but the beer, expensive.
Jesus. So typically what I would do is ask, where did you find your cheapest pint? Because obviously that's what people want to know, right?
Yeah.
But just everybody kept answering Vietnam Beer Street. So do you have an answer other than Vietnam Beer Street for your cheapest pint?
Cheapest pint? Yeah, man. Namibia. Namibia got some cheap beer. My goodness. I think it's good as well. Yeah, you can get a boot, which is like a liter for not too much. Like maybe you get like $1.20 for like a liter of beer, which is, not bad.
Shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Namibia is big beer country, eh? It's colonized by Germany.
Exactly, yeah. And they've left their mark regarding the meat and the beer. If you like meat and beer and beautiful deserts and stuff, then Namibia really is a great place to check out. Also, only 2 million people in like the whole country. It's a huge country. So if you like wild, open expanses, great place to visit.
Where in the world is your favorite bar and why?
My favorite bar.
The next one.
Yeah, man. I like bars. All of them are good. My favorite bar I've ever been to. Yeah, there's some good ones. Zanzibar's got some great bars. I remember. Oh, it's tough, man. I can't remember the name of any. There's one with a beautiful tree. The bar is like it's got like a beer garden on the beach, and it's this like sea almond tree which is perfectly flat and wide and stops all sun, and you're just chilling there with your beer, looking at the Zanzibar ocean, thinking, life is good. So I'm going to say that particular beer with bar with a sea almond in Zanzibar in Paji Beach.
Hell yeah.
Story time.
Okay, story time. Nice.
I want to tell you a story.
Yeah, I've got a story for you. Oh, God. Should probably be good at this. Pressure's on. So me and my friend Jasper, who I'm currently doing this Tuk Tuk trip on, we enjoy spearfishing. Now, we did a lot of it in Indonesia. He's done a lot of it all over the world, to be honest. He's a very good spear fisherman. But he came to me one day and he's like, Josh, crazy plan. This country on the far easterly point of Indonesia called Timor-Leste. I think Timor-Leste means east in Bahasa and Portuguese. So it's east. It's very far east. It's been ravaged by war for a long time. I think it stopped in the 90s, but essentially had a big civil war. So the reef around it is, heralded as a lot of it's untouched. And you've got a lot of shoals of like dogtooth tuna there, apparently. Now, dogtooth tuna, if you're a spear fisherman, are pretty much at the top of the list in terms of fish that you want to get. I'd never shot one before that. And Jasper was like, look, dude, if you come with me to Timor-Leste, we'll get you on. And I was like, I'm in. So we flew to Timor-Leste. We found a car to rent for $100 a day. So it was expensive, but it was a 4x4. So we got these two girls from the hostel. We said, right, if you come with us, we'll go do the whole of the coast together. You pay $25 each. We pay $25 each. So it's basically and their only catch was, not catch, but like the bonus for them was we'll go spearfishing and we promise we'll catch you like food so that we don't actually, we'll save money on that as well. So it was like, that was part of the bargain. Like it seemed
very
like
caveman of you.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, I'm probably gonna get cancelled. Realistically, that's literally what we said to them. We were like, "Here's the deal. We promise we'll catch fish. We're doing this drive, and we just couldn't spend $100 a day, man." So luckily, those girls, they were adventurous. One was actually an American girl called Katie, and Larissa, it was a Singapore girl, and both of them were legends. And they were like, "Yeah, boom, we're in. We love fish. We want to see the Timor-Leste coastline. Let's go drive it." So they hopped in the car, very trusting girls, and they were, good company. And we boosted. Got to the first campsite, had a whiskey, a couple of cigarettes, and a nice chat. And then the next morning, obviously, it was time to go and get some fish, time to get breakfast. So we hopped in, and we went about 100 meters out to sea. So we swam over this 2-meter depth of like rock and beach, and then we just hit this wall, man, that went down about 30 meters to 35 meters at points of just this wall of coral that just stretched down into the depths. And we were like, oh, there's fish at the bottom of you. And it was this crazy visibility, maybe 30 to 40 meter viz. So you're seeing just everything. You're just seeing these octopuses, crazy corals, reef sharks, fish swimming in and out, fish like you wouldn't believe, coral like you wouldn't believe, giant like corridors of coral where the rock is split. And we were like, this seems like a pretty good spot to drop off. So we would go down one after another. Jasper went down, I went down, Jasper went down. And while one's at the top, they're breathing up, the other one's going down hunting. Jasper went down, and while he was down, there's like fourth or fifth dive. He shoots a fish, and I'm at the surface, and I start hyperventilating because I'm like, which is a stupid idea. It's how you die spearfishing. So I'm like, and I don't know why I was doing it, man. I don't know if it was excitement, if I was hungover. I kind of was conscious that I was doing it. I just didn't understand the danger. I guess I was ignorant. And then Jasper came up with the fish, and he's like, there's another one in that hole, coral trout. Get down there, shoot it, and that's 2 fish will do 4 of us. So I get the gun, and I start dropping. And when you get to about 10 meters, you go negative buoyancy, so you just start falling like a skydive almost. It felt like I was skydiving down this wall of coral, just like, wow, is this cool? And then you hit the bottom around about 20, 21 meters, and then you just hold on to like a little rock, so you're like, steady. You've got the spear gun. I was just waiting for this fish. Fish was playing with me in and out of the cave, in and out of the cave. I was down there for about 2 minutes, and I was like, okay, still feel good, but that's because I'd hyperventilated. So my body thought it had more oxygen than it did because my CO2 level was down. It wasn't because I had more oxygen, but when you hyperventilate, your CO2 level in your blood drops, and the CO2 level rising is what tells your body to breathe. So my body, I tricked it. I tricked it into thinking I had plenty of oxygen. Eventually, the fish sticks its head out a bit too far, and I shoot it straight to the spine. It's out, lights out, headshot. And then I start swimming back up to the surface. I give Jasper a little fist pump. Around this point, it's about 2 minutes 40 to 3 minutes that I've been down.
And you're holding your breath, or are you scuba diving?
Holding breath.
Holy shit!
Yeah, this is when I was better at it. My God, I've been smoking too many cigarettes. But so Jasper goes down, grabs the fish, and he looks up. And at this point, when I was about 10 meters away from the surface, my vision starts going like until it was like a little blue speck, and then boom, gone. So I shallow water blackouted 10 meters below the surface with weights on, so I was sinking. So Jasper looks up at my body, and also another stupid thing I did, because if any spearfisherman was listening to this, they're going to like, this guy deserves to die. But I had my snorkel as well in my mouth. I was just hungover, man. I was making stupid decisions. My snorkel was in my mouth. Water was pouring in my snorkel straight into my lungs, and pulmonary foam was forming in my lungs and pouring out of my nose. So Jasper looked up, and I had these streams of pulmonary foam jetting out of my nose, and I'm sinking. I've been down already for about 3 minutes. So he drops everything, grabs me, swims me to the surface. He knows that at about 5 minutes, parts of your brain start to die. So you're either a vegetable or you're literally dead. So he's then like, he's got a race against time. 100 meters to shore, you've got your mate whose lungs are full of water, who's vibrating in the sea. I had a seizure, and then I went limp in his arms. And he was like, how am I going to get his body back to his parents, was his first thought. I'm in the poorest country, one of the poorest countries in the world, no development at all. And I've got this dead body in my arms, 100 meters out to sea. So he flips me around, starts on the chest compressions. He's not able in the sea to get enough pressure to actually make any dent in the lung foam. So I'm still a dead body in his arms. He flips me around and starts just blowing into my mouth as hard as he can. At this point, he's in his brain, he's like, right, 4 minutes 30. I've got about 30 seconds until this man is a vegetable. So he starts blowing into the lungs. The pulmonary foam, as he's doing this, he gets a cough, and I cough foam into his mouth. And because there's waves smashing over him, he refuses. He's kicking hard to keep both of us up with weight belts as well. He refuses to spit it out. So he swallows pulmonary foam out of my mouth and keeps blowing. And he pumps the pulmonary foam using his mouth into his own mouth and swallows it. He swallows all of the foam out of my lungs to the point where I cough again. And like his cough, and I breathe like in, and he's like, yes. And then he brings me back to the shore. And like this whole time this has been going on, dude, I have been tripping balls. Like I have been zipping through dimensions and stuff. Like, don't know if you've ever tried DMT, but it's a lot like it. Like just zoom. I have, yeah. You have? Okay, boom.
Ayahuasca, yeah.
Okay, exactly. Okay, it was a DMT trip, man. I was just like colors, inexplicable. And then Jasper's like, he brings me back to the shore, and he says it's the most interesting thing he's ever seen. But like I go from like this like comatose, dribbling dead guy, and then I just like spring to like my feet, looking dead in the eye. I was like, you're not gonna believe where I've just been or what I've just seen. And then just went boom, straight back into being a dead guy. And then that was a whole ordeal. That was a whole ordeal, and that's half the fucking thing, Dan. Because the main thing with drowning is secondary drowning, and that's what gets you, because your lungs are stuffed, full of water. So Jasper then has to get me to the nearest hospital, 2-hour drive away, slapping the shit out of me, dude, to keep me awake. Because if I go to sleep, I'm dead, secondary drowning. So he's driving in this thing hundreds of kilometers an hour along this like dirt road, slapping the crap out of me to keep me awake. Get me into the hospital, pull me into the hospital, get me on the oxygen, boom. As soon as the oxygen comes, my lungs are able to get a bit more in me, my brain comes back, and then I'm back in the room. And I'm like, right, okay, that's just happened. We need to get, like, what's the plan? Doctor comes in, he's like, right, I'm putting this tube down your penis. And I was like, so what do you mean you're putting a tube down my penis? He was like, this tube, we're going to put a catheter in you. I was like, if the water's in here, the water's in here. And he was like, sorry, bud. And he literally pulls down my shorts, grabs my wiener, which after dying and drowning is about this big in the cold sea. And he just starts
It's
feeding.
an innie.
Dude, it's an innie. And he starts feeding a pipe, I swear to God, this thick down my penis. Like, this is a Timorese doctor. Like, I think he was practicing on me. I think he just wanted to see what it looked like down there. And he's stuck. I'm
fuck.
screaming. And he eventually gets it about 8 inches down my wiener. And then he goes, right, you're getting medevaced on a plane. So I get put on the plane, holding my bag of piss after drowning in Timor-Leste. Like, this is a shit day. And then they they fly me to Dili, the capital city, where they have ventilators. If my lungs fail, they can keep me going. And they wheel me into the hospital and I'm holding this bag of pee. There's a waiting room of 300 people crying, sad, really like quite a sad scene. And then it's just this one white guy holding his bag of urine, naked, with his willy out. Like, what is going on? And then the doctor comes up to me and I'm like, can you please take this out of my willy? And he goes, why have you got a catheter in? And I was like, the doctor said I needed it. He went, no, dude, you don't need a catheter at all. I was like, oh, this sucks.
Oh.
He pulls a curtain around me. These 7 Timorese nurses come in, maybe about 4'5" to 5 foot, about 150 centimeters, very short, very lovely. One of them holds my hand, another hold my hand, and was patting my forehead, another was holding a bucket. I'm like, what's the bucket for? And then the doctor comes over, grabs this tube in my willy and just pulls it out like Excalibur. And I just scream the C word so loudly, there's blood pouring out of my man bits into this bucket, which this nurse has got, being like, yeah, I know I got the bucket. And then they pull I scream the word, I'm going to say it, maybe beep it, cunt. And they scream as loud as I possibly could. And then they pull the curtain back around me. And there's just a silent room of 300 people looking at this naked British guy with blood just all over him down here. And it was just a wild day, dude. It's a wild day. But anyway, to finish it up quickly, a week later, I got out of hospital, went back spearfishing again, and I shot a dogtooth tuna. So, yeah, we got there in the end, baby.
Fuck, dude. That was intense.
Yeah, man. That was a wild week, that Timor-Leste time.
Any secondary effects afterwards? Like, did you... From drowning? Like, was there anything else that happened to you, or did you feel weird?
No, man. I mean, it's a bit of a game changer in terms of, like, drowning. Like, that's... it was a game changer in terms of mindset. And you're like, oh, that can happen, man. That can happen. You can just get... Literally, you just get deleted. You just get, boop, and then you're off. And it's like, that's... And then it was like a... And I was just about to start the job in Indonesia after that week. So I would have missed out on the island, missed out on the Tuk Tuk, wouldn't have known what happens in the end of Game of Thrones. Like, you just start thinking about all these really weird things. Like,
that might have been a good thing.
Yeah, I know, it was a pretty crappy. But then, weirdly, my mind was just going through, like, what you miss as a human when you go. Because, like, I love life so much, and I love stories humans tell, and I love watching the story of humanity just plodding by. Well, big thing was, like, wow, like, really finish books, dude. Finish books. Like, you know, you don't want to be left hanging in the end.
Holy shit! Can we touch quickly on what you experienced when you were dying?
I wish I could remember more. I only recently did try DMT. Thank you, Joe Rogan, for telling me to do it, and Mike Tyson. And it was a reminder. I found it impossible to conceptualize the Jasper at the time. I was able to say, like, shapes, colors, portaling. That's what it felt like. Zoom, 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 dimensions. And then after trying the DMT, I was like, okay, I had a clearer image of what it was, what it was like, because it was like that when you with your eyes closed, just perfect concentric, like geometric shapes, circling in just perfect ways, and like never touching each other, but like having a crazy complex design just blending together, and like, I don't know, man. Yeah, probably was oxygen deprivation, and, you know, just a weird little quirk of the brain. But, you know,
DMT's is present in the body, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that is what people experience when they die.
Maybe, man. Maybe. It was, you know what? It's not a bad way to go. Like, Zero, you're not conscious of anything. Your lights go out. I was in the most beautiful area I'd ever seen. Just shot a fish. Like, I wasn't going to eat it, but shot it. Woo. So, no, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I guarantee the way it eventually does get me will probably not be as beautiful as that one. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because we almost think that we're special and that something so small as, for you, spearfishing was something that was familiar and you were probably never even considering dying or from drowning. But it's just crazy how little things can fucking just take us out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, one little misstep, especially when you're dabbling in something like spearfishing. Like you need to concentrate. You need to take it seriously. So more taking it seriously from now on. I did a few free diving lessons on YouTube. I was like, okay, this probably is worth reading a little bit and watching a little bit. So yeah, gotta take these things seriously. Because before, man, you just feel invulnerable till it happens to you, and then you're like, oh, I'm a human being. I'm immortal. I am immortal.
I am immortal.
Yeah, I'm mortal, not immortal. Yeah.
yeah. It's a great lesson.
Yeah.
So I guess, Josh, thank you so much for leaving us with an amazing story. That was absolutely legendary. So what's next for Tuk South?
Tuk South. We are taking on South America, baby. Tuk South America.
South America.
Yeah.
And where are you starting?
We're gonna take them over to Montevideo in Uruguay, and then we're gonna boost down through Argentina, go to Patagonia. I've always wanted to see Patagonia and start from the very southernmost point, and then we're going to tootle up Alaska, North Pole. People are probably going to cancel us when we leave our tuk-tuk on the North Pole, but I'm afraid when I die, I'd like to know that every compass in the world is pointing to Princess Buttercup sat on the North Pole. I know it's littering, but quite a cool legacy to leave behind. Yeah.
And is it the same tuk-tuk that you've used in Africa that you're carrying over?
It is, yeah. So we're gonna get a new engine, get a few more horsepower to get us up those hills. Yeah, we're not good at altitude. We've got an 8 horsepower engine, so we're gonna need to beef that up a little, and then we'll bounce, man. We'll bounce. We'll get the money and we'll head. Because it turns out like this tuk-tuk travel life is just it's the best way that, well, it's not for everyone, but for us, it's like the only way currently that we could see ourselves living. Now we've tasted it. It's just so good. And it's just so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we have to keep going. We manage these things now, man. I'm sorry. Mum, Dad, sorry. Grandkids are going to have to wait. These tuk-tuks need to get to the North Pole.
Yeah. And so can you please remind people where they can find your socials and where they can follow along your journey?
Of course. So Tuk South is on Instagram. That's our group name. And then I'm on TikTok, Josh Porter. If you just type Josh Porter, I'm sure it'll pop up. There's also a American ex-Marine called Josh Porter who also pops up. I'm not the really super jacked, handsome one. Okay, I'm the blonde, scrawny guy covered in mud. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So listen, thank you so much. And I was wondering if you could leave us with a little bit of a tune, specifically one about a warm brown sauce that reminds us of home.
A tune? You want me to sing?
Yeah.
Oh, gravy. What the hell? Oh, man. If you want, I can send you that file and you can play a little bit of it if people want to know why I'm singing about gravy. Essentially lost my mind on that island, started singing songs with a song about gravy. Yeah. You really have done your deep dive, Phil. You've got to take your cap off to you, my friend. Fair enough.
Right on, buddy.
Nice.
Take care. Thank you so much.
No worries, man. Thanks, bro. It was fun.
And we'll catch you later. Thank you for listening to Two Beers Till Takeoff. Do you want free additional content or just to stay connected with the show? Then give us a follow on our social media platform. That means TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. Are you in need of podcast production services, video editing, or anything in between? Then look no further than Strut Sound Productions, the official producer of the Two Beers Till Takeoff podcast. Music produced by Alex Gagne. Check out his work in our show notes. Voiceover done by Viking Leo K. See you next week on Two Beers Till Takeoff.